Our repo percentage went up slightly. We're still under 18%, which is fine with me. But I'm quicker to repo than I was. There's probably several accounts, more than several, that we could have saved that I didn't, just because I knew what we were doing. It's better for me to pull it out of circulation, turn it into cash at this point in my dealership, where, 2 years ago, I would have saved that deal and figured it out. But that's something that you have to wrap your mind around. As an operating buy here, pay here dealer, stability of your portfolio should be key, right? I don't want to lose accounts. I want to keep it even or grow a little bit depending on where your cash is. And so stability is all that comes into matter. When you're winding down, cash is all that matters.
Hello and welcome to the Independent Dealer Podcast. We are live and alive, Luke.
I'm glad to be alive, Joe.
Yeah. I think about death daily, dude. It's weird. Yeah. It's like mortality is like very scary at this age, man. Everything hurts, falling apart. My body's wrecked. Just counting down the days till I can retire like you and just be done and enjoy life.
I think I'm working more now than I was when I was just in the dealership. Traveling a ton.
Boy, I want to ask that because I texted you the other day and you were out friggin' gallivanting around playing in someone else's dealership doing something. And I said, Luke, it's tax time. What in the world? Is it weird to not be like in the dealership in January, just like all hands on deck, batting down the hatches?
It is because, January tax season is so quick. It is, sometimes it starts January 15th or January 20th, or maybe it doesn't start until February 15th. And then it's 45 days, all hands on deck. And you don't have any time to do anything in those 45 days. But the preparation for those 45 days last probably 120 days. And so, and especially at the end of the year, it gets so tough with collections and all that. Collections have been tough for sure in the last, 90 days. But me not having to do what I normally do during that time is helpful, but created more work for myself by not working in my dealership.
Yeah, I can tell you what, right now, the last just 5 days has been just batshit crazy around here, between buying cars and trying to make sure I'm stocked up for tax time and having to let a salesman go and just the drama of year-end financials and then freaking 20 group homework is ridiculous. I don't know. I gotta have a conversation with him about that. But if you guys don't know, about a year ago, Luke announced that he was transitioning and getting out of the buy here, pay here industry. So if you go back to episode 375, 371, I think, you'll see the whole backstory. But what I wanted to do was drill Luke with some questions on how it goes and how the process has met his expectations or exceeded his expectations as far as winding down a buy here, pay here portfolio. Some of the pain points, the headaches, the things he saw coming, the things he didn't see coming. Because for those of you that are in buy here, pay here, or even retail dealerships, there does come a day where you may want to get out. And whether that's a transition and, you're going to give that to your son or your daughter, or whether you're going to sell the dealership, or whether you're just going to wind it down and shut the doors, sell the portfolio, whatever it is. So few people get to that point on their own out of choice. We know a handful of dealers that shut their doors, not by choice.
Yeah.
But what is it like when that happens? So Luke, give us an update as far as where you started the year and where you're at now, 12 months later.
Yeah. So when we we made this decision in October of 24 that we were going to finance cars until December 31st, and then we were going to shut off that portion and collect the portfolio out. And my idea was hey, we're going to try to retail some cars. And I will walk through that, but really just trying to retail repos for, more than they would bring at the auction, right? Just to move the repos out, because the repo is going to come in one way or another. Stay open, because if you don't stay open, it doesn't look like you're doing something, then people aren't going to pay you. It kind of is the way it goes. And so I knew that going in. And so I forecasted out this is what it's going to look like. This is how many accounts we're going to have each month. This is how much we should collect. And luckily, so what I forecasted last year was that the close of business on December of 25, we would have 562 accounts. Well, Jeff, I'm a pretty good forecaster. I'm a pretty good forecaster. We had 579 accounts at the end of business in December. So,
Okay.
either we didn't have as many payoffs as I thought, we didn't have as many trades as I thought. Something skewed the number just a hair,
Yeah.
but not much. Not much.
You may have not accounted for. I know you talked about some of the people you had to get back into cars, because they had a CPI claim or they wrecked or the engine blew up. And so those are kind of ones where it's like, oh yeah, I didn't account for the fact that I would actually churn more buy here, pay here back into buy here, pay here just to save.
Yeah. We actually did 27 of those, Jeff. And so the number essentially is within 10 if you account for those. Yeah. So yeah, I didn't take that into account because I didn't think about it. And honestly, if I was working in the dealership every day and I was winding my portfolio down, I would do a lot more of this. Because you could structure the loans to meet your end date, if you know what I'm saying. Mm. If you forecasted that your business is going to be open for 36 months, either way, you can structure buy here, pay here loans to end in 36 months. It's not that big a deal. And the buy here, pay here loans don't typically make it to the end anyway. Yeah. So it's not a big deal to structure that. And I kind of went into doing that. And then I just didn't have it. I just didn't want to do it anymore. And so we stopped doing it. We'll do one here and there, but at this point moving forward, I don't think we'll ever do another buy here, pay here deal.
Yeah. And super easy. I mean, either you structure it to end in 36 months or your close date, or you just hand them the title at the end of that. If they made it that far, they might $2 or $3 grand left to pay off. Just hand them the title and be done with it. Because I get that. You could have those people that just kind of perpetually, rewrite a loan because you're trying to keep things alive. Now, if you had shut your doors and you weren't operating as a dealership, you would have a lot. And you talked about that. I think that's the worst scenario to even if you sell your accounts to another servicer, it just changes the whole dynamic, the whole vibe, working with the customers, having them still come in the door, seeing that still business as usual. That's all they see.
Yeah.
So I think staying open is a pretty crucial component to getting the most dollars out of the portfolio. It's
crucial. And we actually collected, compared to what I forecasted, we collected another month's worth of payments, which worked out pretty good for us this past year. Yeah. So, hey guys, just to jump in and talk about Buckeye Risk Services. They've been one of our sponsors forever. They're great to the industry. They're one of your sponsors. You don't even know it. Every time you go to a convention or something like that, they're there helping out. Isn't that right, Jeff?
Yeah, absolutely. I have not seen a company so willing to get behind the dealers from an education, from a support standpoint. I mean, there's a handful that we see in our sphere that are very active and always have our back, but Buckeye really sets the standard. So when you're looking for a reinsurance company, if you've decided it's time to get into it, you've got to call the guys and girls over at Buckeye. I promise you will not regret it.
Yep. Reinsurance, forced savings account, wealth building, tax planning, all these things go together. So call Buckeye.
Have you ever thought about trying to encourage them to refi? Is that part of your strategy eventually to say, hey, I'm going to come in here and we're going to pull your credit again and we're going to get you approved with a bank or a credit union or a subprime and I'm going to get bought out and try to accelerate a bunch of those?
That's a good idea. I don't
have to give them a discount, but you could say, hey, let me help you get placed at a lower interest rate with this lender.
If our F&I department was where it could be, then I would try that. But it's just not worth it to me. I think if I got down to a certain amount of accounts, I might just sell the rest of them, and just be done with it. But but maybe not. I don't know. We're not there yet. Retail wise, I mean, retail is a different animal, Jeff,
for sure.
And if I was in the office every day and really getting into the nitty gritty of this, I could do it. I don't want to do it. I mean, I I was hoping we start out the year with a guy who's he he went on to a new car store, but I really thought he was the guy to do it, and I still believe him, and I think he's a friend of mine. We text all the time, and um, I was hoping he'd stay. He didn't stay, and so about halfway through the year, we had to make a transition, and now a guy's been with us forever is kind of in charge of sales. He's figured out a lot of things since the other guy left. Um, he's really good at a lot of things, and he's a good sales guy. We just haven't made it click yet, and I don't know why. Um, it's probably me. I mean, honestly, it's probably me. But I was hoping that they would just take it and run with it, and I hadn't. It just hadn't happened yet. But it's still early. It might happen. I don't know.
Not you, it's me. It's
It's
not
not
you,
you. It's
me.
me. But I mean, we end up selling 15 cars a month for 2025. I mean, a lot of dealers out there would love that, in a not trying phase. And our our front end gross on those were $2,200. So it kind of fits into what I hear other dealers talking about.
Yeah.
I just wish the numbers were more. Advertising in this space, in the retail space, is ridiculous. And I'm just going to say that, and we've talked about that before. These third party sites are garbage. They are so bad.
But are they needed though? I mean, when you
They-
say that,
It's
is it you have to be on Auto Trader,
You have to.
and Cars.com?
You have to be on one of them. Okay. The leads that come in are, I don't even, why would you go and ask about something and then never respond back again? Like those like things blow my mind. It's same with Facebook Marketplace. Facebook Marketplace is probably the best out of all of them, Jeff. I mean, honestly, it's free and it's the best. And so, but you have to be very consistent. And you have to be willing to respond to everybody that says, is the car available? Is the car available? Is the car available? Is the car available? Yeah. And you have to deal with that every day. Recon's different, Jeff. In the buy here, pay here space, you want to recon that car to the tip top, right? Because you don't want it coming back all the time. Retail's different because if you over recon, there's no money to be made. If you under recon, you're going to get a bad name. So where is that fine line? Then you have to be willing to have salespeople that are educated enough on the product they're selling to say, the reason this car is $1,000 less than every other car on the market is because it needs X, Y, and Z. So don't come back in here after you drive it and say, I want a discount for X, Y, and Z, because I'm telling you right now, the windshield's busted. You can see it. I'm not replacing it. So these are the things that you kind of have to figure out. And I think it takes a lot of time and a lot of patience. And honestly, I have got enough business. I've got enough business doing everything else that I don't care.
No time and no patience. Well, this sounds like a really skewed case study then.
It's not a skewed space, not a skewed study because of this. If you weren't like me and had other balls in the air, and you were someone who really enjoyed buy here, pay here, and you enjoyed your community, and you wanted to just sit in the office all day, this is the way to do it. I have the blueprint, and I think I could teach somebody the blueprint, but it's not for me.
Yeah. When you say that, I think of a couple things. Have you pivoted in your inventory at all? Yeah. I assume you're not carrying buy here, pay here anymore.
So the only buy here, pay here type cars that we have out there are our repos that are coming back. And my buy here, pay here car was a lot different than most people's buy here, pay here cars. Yeah. So
yours were a bit nicer to begin with.
Yeah. So when they come back in at repos, we're retailing those cars for between 12,000 and 6,000. Right. So it's a really good price car that people really need. And so, we have those now, where we didn't have them before. And we moved upscale a little bit, carrying Toyota 4Runners, Tundras, and being really specific about Tundras, Tacomas, and 4Runners and what sells and what doesn't sell. And I still haven't figured that out. The truck or 4Runner that you buy, I think is going to sell immediately. It sits forever. And there's no margin in those things, unfortunately.
Yeah, yeah, you pay so much for them, there's just nothing left.
There's nothing left.
And so that's part of, I guess that's the one thing I've found in the retail space from the little bit that I've done is there are little niches. So there's these little like, and sometimes they're just phases of car cycles where retail and wholesale is a large enough spread that it makes sense to buy that car. I couldn't do this, I don't think, at a large scale dealership because I couldn't do 100 a month and find those little niches. But right now I've found little niches where it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
I actually bought that car. I can get them cheap. There's a huge demand for them and there's a decent margin. I'm going to go buy another one. I'm going to go buy another one. I'm going to go buy another one. Right. So
And you
finding
could
those
do,
little areas. I don't want to compete on Toyota Tacomas. I don't want to compete on, Honda Accords or off lease where I see these guys bidding and they're just planning on bringing it home and making $500 and hoping they sell another $1,500 a back end. Like that to me that just seems like brain damage and way too much risk unless you're a high volume.
yeah, you can find niches, but niches, you can't make a business out of niche.
For sure. It's a side project.
That's right. And I will say that, there's so much education to know, hey, why did somebody not buy that car? Well, because it didn't have this exact trim package that everybody wants, or that color was slightly off and nobody wants that color. And you're like, what?
Yeah.
That's just brain damage.
But when you know the inverse of that, then you've got maybe a slight advantage where you're like, oh, this is actually an in-demand model year because of the engine transmission combo.
That's right.
People that know are looking for this and they will pay a premium. Now, on the wholesale market, maybe the seller doesn't know that this is a unique car. It hasn't hit the masses yet. And so you're getting it at wholesale value because it's dragged down by all the other ones. But it's actually a better vehicle because it's this certain combo for sure.
Yeah. I mean, so there's a lot of education. The education side of inventory for retail dealers is so much larger than the education side of inventory in buy here, pay here. Buy here, pay here dealers know that the longevity of a car, right? How good is it going to be in 100,000 miles from where it is right now is really what matters. It's not really anything more than that. When you can find that a car is very reliable and customers like it, that's where you make your money in buy here, pay here. You don't make it because everybody likes the car, because it could be crap. You know what I mean? And so
there are nuances between that too, I would say.
There are.
We've talked to dealers who they go out and buy the undesirable cars that no one else wants because they have a solution. They've figured out how to fix the, timing chain issues really, really cheap, or they can do an engine swap on the Kia Thetas, and they're buying them in bulk and doing a ton of them. Now a car that everyone thought was crap and no one wants to touch, this guy's making a ton of money on because he's found riches in those little trash piles, So
that's a really good spot. Yeah, that's a really good spot to be in.
So I think as a buy here, pay here, it is still tough because yes, what you think is a good buy here, pay here car, the other guy might not think is a good buy here, pay here car, but it seems to work for you in your market with your mechanics, whatever the case.
No, I think that's right. I just think it's easier to figure out maybe. And maybe I just say that because I've been doing buy here, pay here for 40 years and I get it. So that's probably, it's probably me.
What else have you seen that was a surprise over the last year that maybe is a little different or you weren't expecting and now it's like, oh, okay, this is easier or harder than I thought it was going to be?
Our repo rate has been consistent. Now I know everybody's repo rate has gone up dramatically in 2025. I believe that's the case. The dealers I've been into, I've seen that. I've seen charge-offs the severity of charge-offs continue to climb. Our severity has stayed pretty solid compared to 23, 24 numbers. Our repo percentage went up slightly. We're still under 18%, which is fine with me. But I'm quicker to repo than I was. There's probably several accounts, more than several, that we could have saved that I didn't, just because I knew what we were doing. It's better for me to pull it out of circulation, turn it into cash at this point in my dealership where, 2 years ago, I would have saved that deal and figured it out. But that's something that you have to wrap your mind around. as an operating buy here, pay here dealer, stability of your portfolio should be key, right? I don't want to lose accounts. I want to keep it even or grow a little bit depending on where your cash is. And so stability is all that comes into matter. When you're winding down, cash is all that matters. And so who cares if you lose the account, because you can turn it into cash, and that cash is probably going to be better now than it will be later. If you understand what I'm saying, especially with a customer that might repo anyway.
Yeah. It's almost less about the future cash flow and more about the cash. Hey, how do I recover as much cash now as possible? And that might mean yanking the car while it's still worth something, as opposed to waiting till it's a $500 pile of metal.
Because you could yank it today and turn it into $8,500 in cash, right? Or you could yank it 6 months from now and it'd be worth $4,000 in cash, and you only collect another $2,000. So you have to weigh those decisions every time you look at a pass-through account now.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, real quick break to make sure you guys know about BlitzPay. It's who I use to take all the payments at my buy here, pay here dealership. We've been with them for almost 3 years now, and it is absolutely amazing. It's great.
Yeah, the product is so simple, even an idiot like me can use it. But when my collector's out and I'm just taking a phone call here or there, no matter where I am, I can log into BlitzPay and I can take that payment. I can see the customers texting in and say, "Hey, can you run this?" or whatever's going on. It's always on top of it, and the money's in the bank almost the next day, and that is, to me, so important.
And the support is great. If we do have a chargeback or a dispute, we get an email that says, "Hey, there was this dispute," and then their team goes to work to help us resolve it. They don't just dump it back on your table with some random notification or email that you barely ever see, like my previous processors.
Yeah, that it's so helpful. And a lot of times it's because our customers did something wrong. But when it's not, they'll fight to the end with you and get that money back in your account.
Yeah, so give them a call. The guys and girls over at BlitzPay, great partner to have. Definitely an essential tool to have if you're a buy here, pay here dealer. I find that really interesting. What point do you think coming this, like rolling forward this year, do you expect it to stay the same? Like, do you anticipate kind of the same general scale? Like, what are you forecasting, I guess?
Yeah, this year's going to be different. I still think I think the collections will level out. And the reason I believe that collections will level out is we bought a very seasoned portfolio 2.5 years ago, and those things just don't charge off. I mean, they don't. And so I thought it would have already leveled off. But then December happened. So December was the largest repossession month we'd ever had. Yeah, I mean, it was huge, and so I think it will level. I really believed it kind of leveled out before then, but it hadn't. I think this year will level out now.
Okay, so you anticipate you kind of got some of the bad stuff out of the way, cleaned out some of the crap. Now, from an economy standpoint, obviously, when I look back and think people say 2025 was worse than before, some of that's immigration stuff. Some of that's kind of like people being stretched too thin, finally giving up. Now, repo severity, I understand. I can completely relate to that. My severity of repos was extreme, repoing post-COVID type cars and just being slaughtered on them as far as what their ACV was. So once that works through the system, then yes, maybe 2026 severity won't be quite as harsh as it was in 25.
Who knows? I kind of thought 25 would level that out, but I tell you this, the rough car, everybody's talking about, car prices are still high. A rough repo is not. It's still, they're not bringing crap, and it's causing worse and worse charge-offs. And unfortunately, these cars that you paid so much for, it surprises me when I look at accounts that are 2.5 and 3 years old, Jeff, and they still owe $10,000. I'm like, how in the heck does that person still owe $10,000? And you feel terrible for them, but unfortunately, that's what the market was demanding at that point to buy the car. And so it's not our fault. It's simple economics, it's capitalism. But we're going to be the ones stuck with it, right? Because the charge offs is going to continue to come. And there's so many, I really believe this, there are so many subprime $10,000 to $15,000 receivables out there that are worth $1,000. I think it's millions of them.
You think a lot of dealers' portfolios are underwater or I guess under collateralized, let's
Yeah.
say, because if you were to fair mark to market that portfolio, you would be hurt.
You'd be in trouble. You'd be in trouble. And sometimes you have to weigh that decision, Jeff. All right, this customer's had this car all this time. It's not worth anything. Can't be. They've already put 100,000 miles on it from when they bought it. Oh man, you just keep collecting and praying.
Yeah, I've definitely had the ones where I just don't want to repo.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, they owe this much and they're late. We need to pick this up. Nope.
No, please don't, please don't.
You don't want that collateral. Once we pay $500 and then shipping, it would be better off if we just take a couple payments and just try to get anything out of them at this point. Absolutely. Do you see that happening more in 26? Like, what do you see from that? Are lenders struggling? Do you think we're going to lose more buy here, pay here dealerships and their notes are going to get called due? Kind of everyone's worried about the dirty subprime and tricolor and what else is,
I think
in the coal mine type deal.
I think yes, the long and the short of it. There are many dealers that it's just getting tougher and tougher. Expenses are still kind of out of whack for some dealers that they gotta rein that in. But really the problem is the charge off rate, and they were already 60% in debt and the charge off keep coming. And there's just no way to unwind that quick enough. You can't outsell it. And many dealers try to do that, and you're just putting bad paper back out there. It's hard. It's just really hard. And once you get in that spiral, that death spiral of debt, it's hard. And I hate it for dealers out there, but it's going to continue until it's not, until some capital allocators take some big charge offs. And they can't take the charge offs because they're getting money from other places too.
Yeah, you talk about affordability, and it's like, yeah, we all want an affordable car again. We just don't want it right away because that becomes very painful for our portfolio. So an inflationary situation or wholesale prices going up is very helpful for us buy here, pay here's who don't want to take these massive severity losses on repos. We want to be able to repo a car like we did back in 2021 and actually have made money on it, right?
Yeah.
2022, you pick up a car and you're like, oh, I only lost $1,000 on that. That's a great gig. Now we're losing $6,000 and $7,000 and $8,000 on things when we repo them. And that's not fun at all. So
no, that sucks.
You want it to be affordable, but at the same time, yeah, a good run on the markets would actually be very helpful to keep some of these dealers afloat. That's for sure.
And the other thing I noticed by doing retail, Jeff, is how bad people's credit are.
Oh, okay.
I mean,
do you feel like that's still skewed by your market, your brand, your position?
I think it is. I think that
coming to you thinking you're the buy here, pay here guy. And
so the other thing I've learned, it's really hard to switch brand. If you've been a certain brand like Godwin Motors has been for 40 years in the market, that every advertisement that we did was buy here, pay here. We finance you, not your credit. It was just over and over, and it's lodged in people's brains. And so when they walk in, the first thing they say is, how much down on that car, right? And to switch that narrative is hard. It probably takes years, something I'm not willing to do, to go from being a brand of buy here, pay here to a brand of retail. You probably would need to change your name.
Probably smart. Yeah, it'd be a quick way to do it.
Change your name, change your color schemes. There's a lot of things you'd have to do, I think, but you could do it quicker than what I'm willing to do it. But then again, it might damage your portfolio. So I don't know the right answer there, but switching, that's it. Switching's hard. There's a lot of bad credit in our area.
Mm.
People that you finance. What's weird is people that we finance for years, and they paid us perfectly every time. You send them to a bank, and the bank is like, absolutely not. Bam, and you're like, well, this person has never missed a payment with me. But you know what they do a lot of times, and this is terrible. They co-sign for people,
Ah,
and that person doesn't pay, and it just slaughters their credit, man.
yeah, we've seen that.
And it's sad. And I know why they do it, but it's oh man, that credit that the credit profiles are getting worse. So subprime's here to stay.
Yep. You realize why we do what we do in the buy here, pay here industry, right? There is a need.
Yeah.
And still a lot of lenders that won't touch a handful of customers. Cool. Luke, anything else in closing?
No, man, I tell you, it's I like being around dealers. I like going to their dealerships. I like helping them. But I'm glad, or not, but I'm glad I'm not the one on the hook for all the credit now.
Yeah, it's always a little bit exciting to be the guy on the other side of the fence, huh? And you're kind of like, oh yeah, that's gonna be a long hard slog there for you guys, but I'll help where I can, and I'm gonna help you get through it as painless as possible. But
I'm gonna tell you what to do. It's up to you to do it.
Yeah, that's for sure. Cool, Luke. Good times, man. Let's talk again next week.
All right, buddy.